Good morning and welcome to the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency. I'm pleased to formally announce today, along with Massachusetts State Police, that our agency, the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency, has joined the Nextdoor private social media platform, and that MEMA is now using this free neighborhood-based platform to meet three of our critical emergency management priorities and missions. First, keeping the public informed during emergencies. Second, preparing the public for the array of threats and hazards that may impact our neighborhoods. And third, encouraging the public to be involved in their community efforts to be more resilient. With Nextdoor, MEMA is now able to reach some 2,400 Nextdoor neighborhoods across the state and several 100,000 subscribers. We can now share information on a statewide basis, or we can reach directly into neighborhoods across the state. MEMA and the State Police join some 54 other public safety agencies in Massachusetts in using Nextdoor to ensure that our neighborhoods and their residents prepare for hazardous weather and other types of emergencies, receive necessary public safety information, including guidance from MEMA on what to do in an emergency or disaster, and know how to get involved in their community efforts to be more resilient. Nextdoor is now an important tool in our agency's information sharing toolbox. We will continue to use multiple social media and traditional media platforms to communicate with the public, and we urge all residents to join Nextdoor and build their Nextdoor neighborhoods. We also encourage residents and remind residents of the importance of knowing how to receive real-time emergency alerts, whether through local reverse 911 or notification systems, through alerting apps such as Massachusetts Alerts, and to be familiar with and heed alerts sent by federal and state officials over the wireless emergency alert system. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Trooper Dustin Fitch from the Massachusetts State Police. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Trooper Fitch from the State Police. I run all of our social media platforms for the State Police. And I'd just like to say that we are excited to be able to partner with MEMA and with Nextdoor to offer our participation in this private neighborhood network. As Kurt explained, we did join Nextdoor about 2.5 months ago, and we have been able to share on the platform certain events going on across the Commonwealth, as well as some major weather advisories, that sort of thing. An important feature important thing for the Mass State Police is that we strive to be the best at what we do. And we don't want to join every network, every platform that's available. We want to join the platforms that are going to benefit us and the citizens that we serve the most. And that, we believe that Nextdoor will be able to help us with that. Another key feature for Nextdoor for the Mass State Police that I think is important is that it's Massachusetts residents only that we're communicating with. We do have other social media platforms, and we have a huge following. We've been leaders in state law enforcement across the nation on our social media platforms. But anybody can follow us on those. The great feature with Nextdoor is we are communicating directly with the people that we serve, and that communication is what we strive to be the best at. We've all seen the signs growing up, driving down the street, neighborhood crime watch areas, neighborhood watch areas. This is essentially, for us, it's a virtual neighborhood watch area, and we want to use that to the most that we can to our benefit and to the citizens that we serve. And we do believe, on that note, that the citizens that are following us and we're putting the information out, they're going to look out for each other just like we're trying to look out for them. So, together we can make a stronger and safer neighborhood, and we look forward to seeing what Nextdoor can bring for us and we can bring to the neighborhoods across the Commonwealth. So, thank you. With that, I introduce Joe Porcelli from Nextdoor.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Joseph Porcelli, and I'm the Central and Northeastern Senior City Strategist at Nextdoor. And on behalf of the entire Nextdoor team, I want to thank Superintendent Gilpin, Director Schwartz, Troopers Procopio and Finch for making today's announcement possible and for championing Nextdoor across the state. Now, I've done lots of press conferences for Nextdoor, and this one is especially meaningful to me because I used to work for the Boston Police Department in the Neighborhood Watch Unit. And there I would work to organize groups of neighbors across the city. And I would have loved for there to have been a tool at that time to help neighbors connect and communicate with each other as Nextdoor does, but also now to receive information from not only the Massachusetts State Police Department, but the Emergency Management Agency, as well as 55 other agencies across the state of Massachusetts. Now, we're honored to work with these two agencies because in today's day and age, people are expecting to get information from many different channels about things that affect our lives, including public safety. And with a click of a mouse, these two agencies are now able to communicate and target messages into the entire state, counties, or even down to the neighborhood if that's helpful to them. Now, Nextdoor is relied on by neighbors in more than 85% of neighborhoods across the country, about 165,000 networks. And as Director Schwartz said, over 2,400 neighborhoods across Massachusetts. And neighbors appreciate Nextdoor because before anyone can join their neighborhood network, they actually have to verify that they live in the neighborhood. That's done by a postcard being sent to their house, or our system can call their home phone or their cell phone, and if the billing address matches, we'll let them in. With this added sense of security, neighbors feel comfortable talking about things like getting a recommendation for a local handyman, or to organizing a block party or a garage sale, or discussing things like stolen packages, which you'll hear a little bit about from Bear Connard in a couple minutes. Through Nextdoor for Public Agencies, the platform that's being used by the Massachusetts State Police Department and Emergency Management Agency, they're able to target messages, again, statewide, into counties or into individual neighborhoods. They, however, are not able to see who Nextdoor members are or what those members are discussing. Nextdoor remains private to those neighbors using Nextdoor in their neighborhood networks. However, if someone thanks their post or replies to a comment, they are able to see their first name and last initial and whatever it is they said. So neighbors should know that their conversations are private only to the residents that live in their neighborhood. Now, it's clear to us our commitment to neighborhoods and to communities to create safer, stronger, happier communities across the country and around the world, in fact, and we're very proud to have you guys as our partners, so thank you so much for doing that. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce Bear Connard, who is the founding member of Nextdoor Shaker Hills in Woburn, Mass., who's going to talk a little bit about how he and his neighbors use Nextdoor. Bear?
Great. Thank you, Mr. Porcelli. My name is Bear Connard, and as Mr. Porcelli said, I am the founding member of the Shaker Hill neighborhood in Woburn, Massachusetts. I joined Nextdoor in 2015, shortly after my wife and I moved to the neighborhood. We joined because we were looking for a platform to kind of engage with the community, see what was going on in our community, and be able to immerse ourselves in the community. Since joining in 2015, we have really seen an explosive growth in the interactions on the platform, and you know, we get to see everything from recommendations for doctors to neighbors sharing you know, unwanted goods that may be useful for someone else. I think it's exciting to see now the Mass State Police being a part of this so they can share valuable heads up and information that help us in our busy lives with notifications about what's going on in our neighborhood. So again, just to reiterate that everything from the engagement of for your neighbors, if there's, you know, crime in your neighborhood, stolen packages, as Joseph mentioned, or you know, just what is a great when we need to take the trash out, or you know, things have been changed. It's really a useful platform, and it's definitely changed and helped me in my busy life.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Questions?
Well, this would be for you, but also, I mean, maybe for Dustin, and you mentioned it, I think, this is something that you're able to customize to neighborhoods if, for example, there's a threat weather-wise or crime-wise, so someone in Provincetown isn't hearing about something that maybe is only affecting Western Massachusetts.
Well, that's absolutely right, and that's a feature that really attracted us to the platform. There's 2,400 neighborhoods across the state, and as the sender or originator of a message from the Emergency Management Agency, we can send a message statewide, or we can narrow it down to counties, or within counties, we can get down to individual neighborhoods and really target the message to the people we want to hear it. So absolutely.
And that might be more important maybe to law enforcement, because usually a storm would affect all of Massachusetts versus a lockdown or a criminal thing. Can you talk about that at all?
Right, and that's a good point to bring up, and I should have brought it up before. The geo-targeting of Nextdoor it's crucial as far as, just like you said, if there's a lockdown somewhere or a stay in place, we can target a certain geographic area of the state, and like you said, not send out a message that's meant for the Cape and the Berkshires are getting it. As far as critical incidents, but that also helps us as far as different events and things that are going on across the Commonwealth that we can tell those certain neighborhoods about as well. They might not even know it's happening in their own neighborhood, but the state police might be there, or maybe MEMA is going to be there for their function. And we have used it for that capacity already, testing it out to interact with the neighborhoods. And when we first came on board, Mr. Porcelli and I were talking about it, and a good way to think about it is it's almost like we're coming into your living room and talking to you. It's a good way to look at it. Aside from the other social media platforms where we're kind of putting a broad message out, we may answer some little Q&A back and forth about something that we post. But this is more, it's meant to be a little more intimate as far as, hey, we're here, let's talk one-on-one. So it's not always going to be the critical incidents, even though that's certainly our main function. But we do have different public safety events or community events that we do want to tell the public about, that we can geo-target those specific areas so we can have that discussion and the community relation that we're looking for.
This is an augmentation of the other social media, it's not a replacement though.
Correct. Which again is why I commented about we're looking to use the best platforms that'll benefit both the state police and the citizens that we serve. And we think that this is certainly one of those, especially with the geo-targeting, so we can communicate directly with a specific group, or if we decide to, we can talk to the entire Commonwealth. So.
I'd like to just add to that. There's a use case a couple months ago. I live in Annapolis, Maryland, and in Baltimore County, just south of Baltimore City, there was a chemical spill and there was a vapor event. I don't particularly know how to describe that accurately, but the Maryland Emergency Management Agency was able to target a message to a bunch of neighborhoods surrounding that, letting people know what happened and that they needed to shelter in place. So that's a great example of how that was used. During Hurricane Harvey, for example, there was over 130 different public agency partners in the Houston area that communicated over 1,200 messages during the course of the hurricane to residents throughout Houston and Harris County. So there's some really cool things that are possible when the agencies can work together during a major event, during a tiny event, or just to let people know about, we're talking about on the way here, Bear got a post about freezing rain, I think on the 7th, right? And you were saying you were at work and you had to plan differently to pick the kids up. So that was helpful for the planning. So I think there's lots of different use cases. And it really kind of depends on, what you're trying to achieve at that time.
Is there a backwards communication? If I was a neighbor and I got a post from the state police, gunman or whatever the case may be,
sure.
Am I able via this app to message the state police to say, hey, I just saw a guy run into the woods on Maple Street?
I'm going to let Dustin handle that.
There is the ability for the two-way communication, but I want to stress that at least with the Mass State Police, our social platforms are not for emergency situations. Dial 911, any hazardous situation, emergency situation. Right. Even our other platforms will get some messages that, they're not monitored 24 hours a day. So I would stress 911 like always for
Well,
those.
I mean, that's what to tell people, so.
For those
people
types of
aren't sending
situations.
Social media posts.
I was just going to say, in Montgomery County, Maryland, Joe Corona is the emergency communicator for their agency, and he posted a message about a CERT class that was coming up, and he was trying to fill 15 seats. And after he posted it, I think he said 20 minutes later, all those 15 seats were filled, and now they have a wait list of 200 people waiting to sign up. So Nextdoor is really great for engaging residents in public safety programming, citizen police academies, other kinds of classes like that. But to answer the question about back and forth, people were like, hey, I can't make this class, but will you offer it again? He said, yes, we will. It's going to be coming up again in 6 months. Here's where you can sign up. So there can be back and forth, right? When we think about public safety, even from my experience working with Boston Police, it's all about personal relationships, right? When neighbors know each other, they look out for each other. When neighbors know their local officer or local emergency management coordinator, that kind of one-on-one back and forth are where the questions get asked, and answers are very valuable. And essentially they help people take what in the emergency management world, protective actions, right? They, for example, I learned at a community meeting that the fire marshal in Annapolis would do a walkthrough of your house to tell you like how things are safety-wise. It turned out I had 2 electrical plugs that didn't have the safety caps on it, and I have a 2-year-old. I found out that I needed to have fire alarms in my bedroom. I had one in the hallway, but not in the kid's bedroom or mine. So it was because of the interaction, that meeting, that I learned and I changed. And the more neighbors do themselves to protect themselves, their family, and their neighbors, it increases resilience and safety. And I think Nextdoor is very good at that.
Anything else?
Can I ask the gentleman
Right.
from Woburn, as a resident and a person whose family is involved in the neighborhood, what type of information you'd be looking for state police and emergency management to provide the neighborhood, or what can we do to sort of fulfill what you're looking for out of us?
Well, I think it's. I think that we get bombarded with social media and everything, so it's really great to have a Nextdoor. And if we get a communication from the state police, that's it may be just a nice weather alert, or some sort of traffic situation, or an area to avoid, or something like that. A communication like that is great because it centralizes in Nextdoor, and I get a nice a nice alert communication in my app for that type of communication, because otherwise it can get lost, whether it's and otherwise I mean, I know there are other ways that we get alerted. But I think in Nextdoor, it's great, especially if, say weather is coming in, or, there's something to look out for. I think it's a great way to kind of get that information. And
You're receiving an alert right on your phone, a notification.
yeah, when I log into the app, yeah, definitely.
That's great. Great. Well, thank you.
Can I just say one more thing I forgot to say? You guys are the first state partner we have. Oh yeah, thank you. The Massachusetts State Police and the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency is actually the first state where both the police and emergency management agencies have partnered with us. So I think that's very cool, and congratulations on your progressive leadership and your commitment to communicate with residents. So very proud to have you. Thank you very much.